Right, we should be live now, I think. Let me. Okay. Right, we should be live.
Are
Oh
you
yeah, looks like
timing
we
me?
are. Looks like we are live.
We are
So
now.
yeah, it looks like we are.
Well, I think that's I've accomplished something.
Yeah, we're live now anyway. So I think we're live. Just make sure we can.
We are. We're in the show. Everybody
Hopefully
can
people
see
see
and
us.
hear you. Is there anybody
Yeah.
there now?
Right. Okay.
You're in
Don't know. We'll just have
charge.
to see if there's anyone there. If there's anyone there, can you comment that you're there so we can see that we're working? Oh yeah, we've got. Oh, Joe's come on. Hello. Oh yeah, Claire. Hello. Right. Okay. So it looks like we're all online. We're ready to roll.
No, I
So
can't see
okay.
anybody. Jason, I can't see anyone.
No, you can only see. You can only see me. So okay. Right.
I can't see who's online.
No, you won't be able to do. So right. Okay. So we're kicking off. Then we've got a few people on. So this is we're having a bit of an interview today with Jane Crump, medium rare extraordinaire.
Hello, everybody.
So we're gonna have a chat today about Jane's life as a medium and also anything really. So hopefully it'll be quite interesting because Jane's got a lot of interesting stuff and she's quite an entertaining person as well. So I'll just give her a full introduction. So this is Jane Crump, medium rare extraordinaire, psychic clairvoyant medium. So yeah, so we're just gonna have a quick chat, and then what we'll do is after we've had a bit of a chat, if anyone's got any questions at the end, we'll do a bit of a Q&A as well. So yeah, so there we go. Right then, so I think everyone we're getting comments in, so people can see us. So we're all working. So
it seems so quick. I say I'm working so blind. I can't see a thing. Only you. Anyway.
Yeah, that's how it is because we're on an interview here. So but if anyone asks questions at the end, I'll put them on the screen and you'll be able to see them.
Yeah.
Then, I think, okay. Well. So okay. So first of all, so how long have you been doing this, Jane, the mediumship, and when did you first sort of realise that you had this ability?
That's a really good question. Well, it really starts off from being a child, and I actually got lost right in the fog when I was a little girl, and then I had a really experience that when my mum and dad took me on holiday, there was somebody came into my bedroom, right, and disturbed me. And after that, I grew up with no confidence, absolutely petrified of the dark, petrified of thunder, shadows, anything. And so obviously, as I was growing up, it kind of affected me. I was absolutely petrified of everything, and I can't. Oh, that's right. It paralysed my larynx, and I couldn't speak. Now then, anybody that knows me, Jason, is going to laugh at that because just fancy me not being able to speak. But
yeah, it's hard to imagine.
Yeah, so I was like a nervous wreck. So anyway, as I went through life, having a very dedicated mum and dad and two wonderful sisters, they kind of looked after me all my life, and I just grew up. And when I grew up, I was just as modest as I am now, and just as crackers as I am now. But people used to people used to think that I wasn't a full shilling, right?
Yeah, I think people still think that sometimes, maybe. Nothing's
So
changed there then.
yeah. So because I had no confidence and I didn't have a memory, you know, I had no memory. So anyway, I grew up with all this tender love, and eventually going on for a few years, I met my father died, right? And then I went on to my sister asked me if I wanted to go to the spiritualist church to ask me if I could, you know, wanted to speak to Daddy. Well,
Right.
me being like I was absolutely petrified. And anyway, I went and I was just thinking, oh, it's going to be all dark in there and they're going to be knocking on the doors and they're going to be saying, you know, oh, is there anyone there? Well, if you're going to expect that anybody and if you're going to be a spiritualist church, you'll be really, really, really disappointed because it's nothing like that at all. Anyway, I went and it was a little place in Halifax and I started to go every week. And and the other mediums were saying to me, you ought to be up here. You ought to be able to work with spirit. And at this time, I never heard anything or nothing. You know, I'd been through a bad marriage as well. So that never helped my mediumship. And it wasn't until I met Bill in 1984 when we started to go to the church, you see. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I started to sit in the audience and I started to feel and I just started to sense something.
Right.
And I was like that for many years. Anyway, I went to the church, used to just enjoy just sitting in and just making teas and just listening to all the speakers and everything. And then it seems as I'm talking years. Anyway, they said to me, Jane, would you like to do a service? You know, because we know that you can. And I said, oh no, not me. Anyway, they pushed me up, and I did my first service in the Sickle Church in Halifax. And I'm going back in the very, very early 80s. Right. Anyway, I did this little church, and I worked, and it gave me some confidence, and you know, I just had a lovely time, and it just sort of grew and grew. It grew and grew from there. Anyway, big sister said to me, Jane, why don't you go to Idle Church? I've been going to this one in Halifax for years.
Right.
I said, where's Idle? You know, this is what I like. So anyway, I went to this little church and I walked in and someone said to me, that's Jane Ramsden. And I said, how do you know that? She says, it's Pat. And Pat's dad was the local cobbler and my dad was the local hairdresser. And Pat had been chairing and running Idle Church for a long time. And then I met this other girl, and this is Spirit. I met this other girl, and she says, hello, Jane. I said, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know you. She said, it's Jackie. She said, it's Jackie Harrison. She says, I've worked with your dad, you know. She says, I'm on the National Hairdressers Federation. Oh, I said, what a small world. Anyway, so Jackie and Pat took me under the wing. Right. And they said to me, there's an open circle every Thursday. Why don't you come along? So anybody that's trying to develop, I suggest that you want to go to an open circle. But I also want to say to everybody, different churches has different vibrations, every one of them. And some you'll walk in and you'll sense and you'll think, yeah, this feels good to me. It's a little bit like when you meet people, you either like them or you're a little bit wary of them.
Yeah, I suppose
So
it's what you're
anyway,
drawn to as well, isn't it? As well,
yeah.
you've got pretty different people be drawn to different places, won't they? I suppose.
Oh yeah, yeah. So anyway, I went, and then Jackie and a lady called Shirley and Pat said to me, "We're going to have a Fleshlings group."
Mm.
So we all got on the rostrum at Idle Church. I'll
Right.
never forget.
Mhm.
Anyway, it started off that after that I got into what they call a private circle. Now a private circle is different, where it's a closed circle where there's only so many people sit, and then you all work and meditate and you share.
Right.
And one lady said to me, Shirley says to me, Jane, she says, why don't you work with some ribbons? And I said, what's ribbons? And,
Mhm.
you know, I never even thought about colours or nothing.
No.
So she says, colours. So I came home from this developing circle, you know, with a lot of food for thought that had gone on, and meditating and meeting new friends and so and so, so and so, so and so. So I came home and I told my sister Sally, who originally took me to the church in Halifax.
Mhm.
So my sister was really, really clever. She used to sew and knit and crochet. Anyway, the next time I saw her, she bought me some ribbons, all
Right.
different ones. There were about
Mhm.
8 on them. Anyway, I took them to church, to Idle, and I said, look, I said, I've got some ribbons. She said, will you practice on me? So I got hold of one ribbon. I said to everybody, right, choose 4. And when I'd gone through my 4 colours, that was it. But in those days, I didn't even recognise the colours. It was just the feel. It was just the vibration that I was picking up from the people who would handle them.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, eventually, word came out that I was, you know, some friends got to know, and they said, oh, you know, would you do me a ribbon reading? Anyway, just looking back, it was a bit, it just absolutely snowballed and snowballed and snowballed. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I ended up getting loads of presidents, booking secretaries ringing me up to ask me to go and speak at the spirituals churches.
Right.
And that's how and then it's grown and grown and grown and grown. And eventually the first thing I've been knowing like I was that what can I say? I was very psychic, and I used to sense, you know, like I was talking about sensing mediumship. It comes in clairaudient to hear, clairsensitive to feel, and clairvoyant to see, and a clair knowing, just to know. You don't know why you know. And so I started working from the rostrums, and of course I developed, and at first, and once I got onto the rostrums and been working in my circle and doing my ribbons, I actually started to hear and to see the spirit world.
Right.
The guides came in, and Charlie McClown, everybody knows Charlie. He was the first one that ever came into my life, and he's still with me now.
Right.
And you know, so anyway, you change guides, and then word got out, and then it's just gone from there. So a mediumship has just changed my life. It's made me, it's connected me to my God.
Yeah.
It's made me a far nicer person, a far more compassionate, understanding person than I've ever been in my life.
I think as
And it,
well. I think as well though, when you understand about karma and all this kind of stuff, then I think it does change your mindset though, doesn't it? As well.
oh, absolutely. Honestly, absolutely. The things that spirit do, it's a bit like today. I came in today. I've had a bit of a day like I normally have, and everybody can laugh at me. And I was looking for something. Don't ask me what I was looking for something, but I was looking for something today. And guess what? I found some torches in the drawer. And I wondered where those torches had gone. And then 2 hours later, we had a power cut.
Yeah, you see, intuition there, you see.
Yeah. And they were saying to me, Jane, look, there's a power cut here. And and that's what kind of happened to me. My guides, his spirit guides, will work with me when I'm working. And the family and friends will work with me in like a private, like for instance, if I'm a bit down, I can hear my mum, and I can hear, and I can hear Bill and what have you. And my friends will work with me in a private life.
But so can you communicate with everybody that's passed over, or is it just certain people that you're drawn to, or is it certain people that's in your like soul group or whatever? What would you think?
Just ask me that again, Jason.
So when you're communicating with spirit, is it people that you know personally that have passed over, or is it people? Is it just random people, or is it people that, like in your soul group? Do you think? What do you think? What do you think it is?
Well, the soul group people will probably link in much easier. And I think the soul groups will often come from past lives, and there's probably connection there. But each person, Jason, is different, and we've all got free will. But if somebody's willing to step forward and to come, yes. But there is a way. There is a way of bringing them forward. But everybody, every spirit, everything that dies doesn't die. They've got a spirit, and they can come in, Jason. But not everybody wants to.
How would you bring, if you wanted to bring someone in, how would you do that? Do you have to ask their permission, or is it kind of that? And someone will say, look, I'm not up for it today, I've got a headache or whatever, or other people will go, oh yeah, I really want to talk, So is it just kind of, you just ask permission? Is that what happens?
Always ask permission. Yeah. You always stay positive, very positive mindset, a clear head, and with the right intention from your heart, and always pray before and pray afterwards. And always make sure that you know who your doorkeepers are, and even if you don't, just imagine the light from your crown chakra just coming, just coming round and about you.
So so when you're reading, do you sort of meditate before, or just kind of chill out, or is it just, or do you just sort of say, right, switch it on or switch it off type of thing?
You know what I'm like, don't you? What do I do? Just switch on and switch off normally.
Yeah.
But I think I'm a little bit unusual. Spirit, my guides will work with me. I've worked with them for that long that they're my best friends, and they just understand. They just understand me fully. When you're tired, it's not very good. I do link in, but when I'm not tired, and when you're tired, this is strange. They'll work with you, and then you'll be absolutely exhausted then.
Right.
And when you're not tired, they'll still work with you, but you're not tired.
Right. So they kind of realise if you're tired and probably not gonna, they'll probably say, look, it's not a good. I suppose it's like when you're on the telephone and it's like, oh, I'm feeling a bit tired, I'm not up for a conversation. So they kind of tell you maybe to the, if the connection, if you're tired, the connection won't be really great, I suppose, will it?
Sometimes I'm going to tell people, meditation, you don't have to sit and shut your eyes and go to sleep. So everybody's different. There are some people who can meditate walking about in a park.
Yeah.
There's some people that can meditate knitting. There's some people who can meditate watching telly. And there's some people who can meditate. Let me get this right. They can meditate to a guided meditation group. A guided meditation with a story in it, or some can just meditate to music. Now, personally, if I'm working, my guides will start to feed me before I start, and I can be washing up. I can be sat on the toilet, and I hear, and I know it's from a demonstration.
Right, yeah.
But there's no special way. I mean, I never sit still, Jason, as you well know. And some people are born with it, and some people aren't born with it. Some people have got to work for it, but natural mediums, it's just automatically there. And I don't hear voices. When I'm working, I don't hear voices. When I'm talking,
how does it come through for you? Does it come through as a feeling, or what? How do you sort of interpret it? It's not a voice for you then.
No, I just open my mouth and it just comes out.
Right.
And they'll show me pictures. It's like automatic. But when I'm working with the family, I can hear. Then, but when I'm working with public, I don't hear voices. Right. It's just a knowing.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think what you said earlier is interesting about when you first kind of were aware of it, when you lost your voice or something. I think that's interesting because it's like one of your senses has been taken away and another sense has been heightened. So that's quite interesting, isn't it? Because that a lot of people, psychic people and stuff, say that these sort of things happen to them and it activates something else. Because I mean, for example, I can't remember the person right off the top of my head, but there is a medium that I've seen in the past, and they're a blind person, and their psychic abilities are really, really heightened, maybe because they're blind and they can see everything around them like psychically, but they're blind. So there might be something about if you've lost a sense, or if you've not got a good sense or something, it might be your other senses might be heightened, maybe.
Yeah. That's a good point, Jason, because when you're working, I often think that I've got 5 gears, and just depending on the sitter, depending on the energy and your communicator, you've got to change down a gear or go up a gear. So sometimes I will just sense them. Sometimes I just know they're there, and sometimes I'll see them.
Right.
So, but it's not like that. Everybody's different, right? And when I said I was growing up, I think what they did, they just completely closed me down because I was such a timid, frightened little girl. They
Yeah.
completely closed me down. I had to lose my dad to become sensitive, to become aware, and I had to lose my mum to become clairvoyant. And as soon as my mum went, all my senses and everything came in. And what I believe to this day, Jason, is they were protecting me and putting me into a bubble, because if they'd have opened me up when I was young, I'd have been in Menston.
Yeah, well, I think that you get these abilities or whatever when the time's right, and sometimes people get these abilities and it's not the right time, so they shut them down and then they come back later, maybe, don't they?
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of that where some people, like you say, are born with it, born with an ability, and some people don't use it really. And it's like anything: if you don't use it, you lose it, don't you? You know.
Yeah, absolutely,
So I think there's a lot.
But in mediumship, I'll just tell you this. I forgot. In mediumship, my psychic ability came first. No, it didn't. I'm telling you lies. Sorry, I'm telling you fibs. Right, my healing ability came first, because I used to do mobile hairdressing, and I used to visit all these old ladies with bad knees and bad necks, and they used to say, "Oh, and I said I'm supposed to have healing in my hands." I said,
And
I said, "Would you like me to put my hands on you? Because you got to channel healing." Anyway, I put my hands on them, and I used to think, well, listen, if it's made them feel better, it's fine. It's so I used to go back and I used to say, "Jane, my knee is absolutely super." I said, I'll give you some more, because they were under dryers, you see, roller setting and perming in those days. So my healing ability came first. So as a natural healer, and then I did my Reiki. So I did Reiki. I did my Reiki 1 and 2, and then I've done a crystal healing course. So my healing ability came first. My psychic came second. My clairvoyance came third, and my philosophy came last.
Right. Okay.
And now in my messages, there's nothing but philosophy in them. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it, how it works?
Yeah.
Everyone's different. So this is the thing, you'll get like dozens of different mediums and psychics, and they'll all work differently, won't they? They'll all have, different ways of working as well.
There's different ways. There's different. The spirit world never fail to surprise me, ever.
So in relation to sort of, would you class yourself as clairvoyant, clairaudient, and clairsentient, or would
I've got the lot.
Is there one thing that's sort of more your go-to thing? Is there one that's more for you, or is it just to get a bit of a balance? What do you think?
I think it's a balance. I think probably my sensing and my knowing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And let me just say something else for people. People come to me, Jason, and I have helped thousands and thousands of people. And if I hadn't been mediumistic, I realised that I couldn't have done the job that I've done. I've saved many, many people from sea. And I wouldn't have, and I'd never have realised. But people say to me, Jason, I want to know the name of my guide.
Right.
Guides change. When you're doing mediumship, it starts from being a very small child, where you go into a creche.
Right.
And then you go into an infant school, then you know, maybe in middle school, and then what have you.
Mm,
So there are different teachers who will guide you through,
right.
and that's when you'll be introduced to your doorkeeper and your angels, and just that comfort, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your guides change,
Right.
and that's why it's not wise to know your guide's name, and they won't tell
Mm,
you
mm,
because you won't let them go. You'll go back and asking them, and you won't be able to move on to the other guides.
I see. Right. So if
It's
in
only until you get like me, Jason,
mm,
when I, I talk about a spirit team now. You
mm-hmm.
know, I haven't got individual guides.
Yeah.
You know, I know Charlie, but my guides work in harmony with me, and
Right.
I'm
Okay.
also
Right.
hearing now, and they're laughing, and they said, yeah, we do, and we work bloody shifts with you.
Yeah. Well, just take a quick break. Just want to say, if you're watching
Yeah,
this thing, this live, then just if you share it, then we can get it can get to more people. So if everyone shares it, can just get out to more people. You'll be able to watch it back anyway on the page anyway. So just just keep sharing it as well. So on the guide thing, I've heard this from other people. I'm not sure if it's right, but we'll ask you. So do you have sometimes guides that stay around all your life? And these the guides that come in and out, or is the guides that are just there for a specific reason? How does that work? Is that the case?
let me
That's a
have.
good question, isn't it?
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
yeah,
No, no,
yeah,
reason I'm asking is because I've been told this before by other mediums, and I don't
yeah,
know if it's true, or if it's different for different mediums. But some mediums say that they have guides that are there for life. They have guides that come in and come out for different, and then you have guides that come in just for a specific reason or a
yeah,
thing that's going on in your life. But
yeah.
is that sort of same for you? You think, or is that different for different people?
I'd say it were different for me, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
I, I'd say, I'd say, yeah, yeah. I would say that it was different for me. I mean, the only guide that I'm aware of who's been with me right from the very beginning is Charlie
Right.
McClown, and and he's the only one. He's the only one that stayed with me, and I think it's because um, we started right from the beginning, and because Charlie's personality is like mine,
Yeah.
very you know, is very outgoing,
Mm,
and we've actually and I don't know whether we've come from the same soul group because
mm,
Charlie's been here on more. He's lived on this earth for more than one occasion because
mhm.
I've had different pictures of him, different drawings, and different readings,
Right.
but but all the same information, Jason.
Right.
So you know, so I think you're going to get to a certain height when your guides stay the same.
Okay, I got you. Okay. Right. So it's
Yeah.
probably different. It's probably different for different people because I suppose, like anything, mediums are at different levels, aren't they, as well? I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
I've known a few mediums in my life, and I've known a few mediums that had it since birth. So they've obviously, they were born with it and they've had it since they can remember. Whereas other people I know have got it in later in life and stuff. So there's probably, like you said, there's probably different levels as well, isn't there? As well,
Oh, there's
maybe.
different levels, Jason. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm,
And spirit will come in. However, they can touch you. They will touch you. Whether they'll give you a sign of
mm,
some feathers, some signs of some rainbows, some signs of coldness, some signs of money. They will bring it in all different ways for everybody.
Right.
You know, they'll show everybody a sign, because it's not everybody that will pick up on one thing.
Mm.
You
So
know,
So
you know, and they'll often bring songs as well.
Right.
Sorry.
So just gonna say, so in relation to the guides, when you're talking to them, do you see them in your mind? Do you see what they look like, or do you have a feeling what they look like?
I just know.
Right.
Yeah. I know who it is generally.
Right. Okay.
I just know.
Okay. So just we'll just have a little quick break, just to say to people at the end, once we've finished with our chat, if you've got any questions for Jane, just put them on the comments, and we'll just ask Jane some questions at the end. So if you've got any interesting questions, we'll pick some interesting questions out at the end. So if anything you can think of, we won't do it after, through the interview, because we'll keep it going. But at the end, we'll for the last sort of 10-15 minutes, we'll do some questions. So if you've got anything there, just ask away, really. So
Jason, just before I came on scene, I was picking up for somebody.
Right.
But I don't know who it's for, but I did have something. They've just given me it back, so it must be for somebody.
Yeah. You can give out a message if you like, or you're gonna wait till later.
Well, I'll give you it. I'll give it later on then.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So in relation, I think you mentioned earlier, so if there's people out there that want to get into mediumship or develop, then you mentioned the best. What would your advice be to someone who wants to sort of go down this road for themselves? What would the best course of action be?
To go into a spiritualist church where they felt comfortable and loved.
Right. Okay. That
makes at home.
Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? So okay, so that's kind of like, we've kind of touched on about your background and where how you got here, really, and everything. So I just want to sort of ask really about, obviously you've been doing it for, is it like 30 years or something? Is that right?
I've been aware of spirit for about I've been aware of since about 1983.
Right. Okay. Right. So it's a long time then.
But I've never used it because I was, because I hadn't opened up to it.
Yeah. So this is a bit of might sound a silly question, this one, but so in relation to where, when you're getting messages from spirit, is there a difference between getting a message as a medium or channeling? Is there a difference? Is it the same thing?
Ask me again.
Okay, so when you're getting a message from spirit, doing a reading or generally knocking around, whatever, is that the same thing as channeling information?
Yes.
These channelers who channel information from
it's channeling
everything, isn't there? From like from guides, from aliens, and all sorts of stuff. So is that the same? Is that the same thing then, more or less? Would you say?
When I'm working, I get into a zone and I'm channeling.
Right. Okay.
And I'll tell you what I experience sometimes. And I don't think I've ever told you this, Jason. But it's like, it used to be like, I've got some earphones on and I was in a tunnel.
Right.
And that's what it felt like. And when I'm channeling, Jason, I'm just in my own zone.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I'll tell you something else. If people's got arthritis or you're poorly, when you're channeling, when you're working for spirit, you can't feel any pain up.
All right.
You don't feel pain until you empty, and then you come back to yourself.
So you're kind of disconnecting from yourself, then, aren't you? Really?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting, isn't it? Then so.
Yeah. Good question. That.
So if you're channeling from some spirit or some person, are you picking up on their mannerisms as well, or their feelings as well?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I pick up on their illnesses, the mannerisms, the sayings, the stature, what they would have died with. When you're working, there's a method called CERT, right? CERT is C, communicator. So you find out who your communicator is. So you'll say, I've got a gentleman here, he's so-and-so, so-and-so. He feels as though he's coming into family, right? And then you give the evidence of who that person is, right? How they would have spoken, how they would have lived their life, what kind of people they'd have been.
Right.
And then you tell them the reason why they've come. So the reason why they want to speak to you. And T is that when you tie it up.
Right. Okay. Right. All right.
Yeah. Did you not know that?
No, it's interesting that. No, it's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to ask is, you mentioned the ribbons that you use, which I've experienced that as well. That's interesting. Is there any other tools that you use when you're doing your mediumship, or when you're doing readings that you kind of go to? Because I mean, anything can be a tool, can't it? So
anything can be a tool. Yeah, crystal ball, tarot cards, angel cards, ribbons. A lot of people do psychometry.
Right.
And psychometry is where you take give them a watch. Now, normally, if you give them a watch of somebody else's, you're trying to link into that spirit energy. If you don't, if it's something that you give me, Jason, that's just yours. I'll just automatically link into your energy field with it.
Right. Okay. So
that's called psychometry. You can also work with the pendulum.
Right.
I can also work with flowers.
Right.
I can also work with colours.
Interesting. It's interesting.
I also work with the animals, and I also work with I work with power animals, your animals, pets, angels, all kinds of stuff. Flowers, crystals. Oh, I can't
anything can be a tool, can't it? As long as it's got some sort of vibration, I suppose.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anything's a tool.
Yeah. So in relation to guides, have you ever had any animal guides or any out of this world guides?
Yeah, I have. I've got a guide called Prostron.
Right.
And he's in another world. It could have been an Atlantean, or it could have come from the Pleiadian side. But
okay, that's interesting. Yeah, because I've got a bit of connection to that myself, and we've got someone talking in a couple of weeks about Pleiadians. So that's
I'll be listening to that.
So that'll be an interesting chat as well. That one.
Yeah, it will.
So have they ever given you any interesting information? Because obviously it'll be a bit different than the usual sort of guides, won't it? I suppose.
Yeah. Well. you've really got to be in the right mindset, and you've really got to be able to let yourself go into another theatre with your mind to be able to connect with them, because obviously they've got other ways of transporting themselves.
Yeah.
I forgot what they call it. Oh, yeah. What do they call it, Jason? When you get when you go in?
Not transconfiguration. Not that.
No. I'm just talking a Merkaba.
Right.
A Merkaba is where you can travel to other planets in meditation, and that's where you can meet your guides.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Right.
But they come through a much higher language, a much higher vibration, and if you're negative or you're not ready to go into that place, you won't be allowed to go, Jason.
No, you've got to tune into that, the vibration, haven't you? So if you've not got that high vibration, you can only talk. It's like I sort of think about it as like a radio channel. You can only connect to the higher channels if you're on that wavelength, can't you?
That's right. Absolutely.
This is like negative people bringing. This is why when people are negative, they're bringing sort of negative energies and and things. So it's all about the vibration that you're on, because it's the law of attraction, isn't it? Really, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people say to me, I might just try and explain this to people. I've been accused when I've done demonstrations, not many, and I'm going to say to you, I've done a lot of work for charity, so I've given a lot of money and dedication to raising money.
Yeah.
Anyway, you've got to raise the energy, because if you can raise the energy and you talk positive and you smile and you laugh and you sing, it clears the energy. It allows them to come through, because there's no fog and there's no mist. So when I laugh, the spirit people love it, and my guides will come in, and when I laugh, it's not that I'm being disrespectful.
No.
They love it, and it clears the energy for me to be able to communicate.
Yeah, well, it raises the vibration, doesn't it? Because laughter is a high vibrational energy, isn't it? So if you're raised, it's like I know we've done we've done some events together and stuff, and I've seen a lot of your demonstrations, and obviously when you get the crowd going, it raises that vibration, doesn't it? So and especially when you've got a crowd of people as well, I think it makes a big difference.
I'm really good in the crowd.
You're very entertaining, actually. Yeah. So I mean, I've got to say, I know a lot of mediums. You're the most entertaining medium that I know, that I have known, actually. Everyone has their own style, haven't they? But everyone's got their own style. It's not, no one's better than anyone else. But your style.
Jason, I sing a lot.
Yeah. Well, you see, that's another high vibration thing you see as well. As long as you're not singing sort of like death metal music, and singing is a high vibration thing as well, isn't it? So it's all about raising the vibration, isn't it? So
I mean, Jason, I can tell you a lot about how I brought evidence through song.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. So
and I'll just give you a couple of examples. I went over to Spain, and I met this lovely lady, and her husband had been in a coma for quite a few weeks, and I went over and I started singing to her.
Right.
And I can't sing, and I make it up as I go along, as as everybody knows. And I goes, I was chatting to her, this lady, and I'm saying, what does this mean? I said, don't cry for me, Argentina. The truth is I've never left you.
Yeah.
And this lady, tears came into her eyes.
Right.
And she said, that record came on when my husband first gained consciousness.
Right. Mm.
And that was just, and then I was doing a show at Huddersfield, and you've got to be very, very careful. You've got to be very, very careful, and because people, Jason, they rely on you so much, and you've got to be very, very, very careful how you say something, because you could send somebody over the edge. If you said,
of course,
if you said, oh, you've only got 6 months to live. Something like that. Anyway, I was in this church, and I knew this. I knew that the communicator that I had was a gypsy.
Right.
And you can't very well say to a church audience, I've got somebody here who was a gypsy.
No.
So you've got to be really, 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 really careful.
Yeah.
And because I laugh and it's because I'm like I am. I mean, I'm very genuine, as you well know. But anyway, I don't know whether I've told you this. I burst into song, Jason.
Right.
And I said, this lady, I said, she's giving me a song. And I said to this lady, I said, can you understand somebody who would work outside? I said, they're showing me fairgrounds and the horses, going up and down.
Right.
And I said, can you understand? And she says, I can, love. I says, hang on. I said, she's bringing me a song. I says, are you ready? And all the audience just waited in anticipation. And then I goes, she's running round the mountains when she comes. And then I couldn't think of the title. So I said, what is it? And they were saying, she's where, yippee, yippee, aye. Yippee.
Yeah.
And then I said to this lady, does that mean anything to you? She said, it does, my love. She said, it was my mother, and my mother had that song at her funeral.
God, blimey, wow. So that, I mean, that's good confirmation for people, isn't it? You mean, those sort of things, it's because it confirms to someone that you're on the right track, or
gosh,
right there, doesn't it?
And then I was talking to another lady, and she'd been crying, and she'd lost her sister. And I'm saying to her, hey up, she's bringing a song for me. And this, and when I work, my readings are really, really informative. And they're very, And I kept laughing. She kept crying and laughing with me. And I says to her, I told her who it was. I said it was a sister. And then I said, she's bringing me a song. She says, I said, do you want me to sing? Because I can't sing. She says, yes, please. I goes, are you ready? Are you steady? And I goes, lift me up, I'm a spirit in the sky. And she went, oh no, she said it was at a funeral with that.
There you go, you see. So
and that just, and she was crying, and she got hold of my hand, and that is the evidence that our spirit worked with me.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's great because I mean, people always remember those times, don't they? And those songs as well.
There's
songs that take you back to a certain time, isn't they, and everything.
You spot on there, Jason.
Yeah.
If you hear a song that's coming on the radio and you've been thinking about somebody, that's the sign for you.
Yeah, well, your mind remembers these things and stuff.
Oh, so, absolutely.
Feelings and songs and sounds and things. So it takes you straight back. So it's really good confirmation. So So what we'll do is we'll just have a quick flick through and see what questions we've got. Unless there's any, have you got any really like a really interesting story about when you were doing mediumship or anything? Have you got anything that you can have a think about if you like? Or you've
asked me, and the first thing that's come to mind is I took Daryl, my son, he was young, for a pair of shoes.
Right.
And I couldn't get him, with Daryl being like he was, oh, I don't like this pair, Mum, and this and that. And this lady, this shop assistant, she was going backwards and forwards. And all the time she was going backwards and forwards, her father came into me, and he wanted me to speak to her. And I'm arguing. I'm saying, I can't. I don't know this lady. My son's buying a pair of shoes.
Right.
So I said, no. I said, I can't. Anyway, I paid. We got these shoes, Jason, and I was just on my way out. And then I said, oh, by the way, I'm a psychic medium. And she looked at me frightened to death, and she says, and I said, I've got your dad here, and he wants to tell you so and so. And her little girl had been raped, and she was so upset, and the father came in to tell her. And I can remember that instance. I felt so embarrassed. And that lady was so grateful that I told her.
Yeah, imagine, yeah.
And I'll tell you what. I'll tell you another thing. I've been on holiday, and people have been able to walk. And I've said to them, I've got a I'm a healer. Would you like me to give you some healing? And they said, oh, I'd love to. And I've put my hands on them, and and one guy, he took us back to his apartment and opened a bottle of champagne. He says, I've never seen my wife walk so well. Thank you so much. And the spirit world will use you. If somebody's lonely or they're feeling down, they will just use you. If you've got the dedication and the compassion and the love for fellow man, Jason, and everybody, but you've got to have a heart. You've got to be compassionate. You've got to be an empath.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100% agree with that. And I think this is I know a lot of psychics and mediums, like all my life really, and they've all got something in common, and it's like you say, to be a great psychic or a great medium, you have to have really good empathy, because without that you can't connect on the higher levels to receive the information. And this is what a lot of people don't think. Oh, I'll sit in a development circle or a meditation for years or whatever. But unless you have that mindset, you're not going to get anything that's worthwhile. If you're on the lower, if you're connected on lower vibration, you're going to get lower vibration stuff, aren't you? So
yeah, absolutely.
It's about connecting on that level, and you can move up and down the levels as well, can't you?
Yeah.
So there'll be days. Everyone's got days where they feel a bit negative and stuff, and they're not going to be able to connect well. But then there's other days when you feel more up. So it's not a case of like, this person's negative or whatever. Well, you don't have to be negative forever, do you? You can change your mindset, can't you?
No. And a lot of people, Jason, they can see auras. They can actually see auras. And that's how and that's how some people connect, because they just can see that people's aura.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, some people have very, very bright colours around them, and each colour you see is significant of how they're feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes you'll see, I will see blue lights or green lights around somebody's tummy area, or somebody or around somebody's head, and I know that there's something that's just not quite right, and the healing's been sent to them.
Yeah. So when you see auras, I presume like the greens and the blues will be like the healthy colours, and the reds and stuff, and dark colours will be kind of the negative sort of energies, won't they, or the blocked energies or whatever. Is that?
Greys are. You know. Yeah.
Yeah. Right then. We've just gone over an hour, so we'll have a look at some, if we've got any questions coming in here, or comments really. Francine said, you were speaking of my friend Anton. That was when I mentioned the medium that was blind.
That's right.
I don't know if you met him, Jane, but yeah,
yes,
that's the name now. I remember. Yeah, now I remember him. Yeah. So Anne has said, Jason, are you a medium? No, I'm not. But I used to hear spirit when I was younger, but I don't anymore. But that's a bit of a long story. But I am. I'd say I'm more psychic than me. And mediumship isn't really my thing, to be honest. But I do like the psychic side of things, and I do some psychic development and stuff as well. So I'm quite interested in that. But mediumship, I've always said to people, mediumship doesn't interest me from a personal point of view, because I've got no one in spirit that I want to talk to, really. You know, so that's why I think. Claire's said to you, Jane, she said she remembers your really good healing energies. So you must have done some healing back in the day.
Thank you.
We've got a bit of not a question, but we've got something coming from Anne. She's saying her daughter was psychic as a child. She sees people. People would also be in photos. That's quite interesting. She told once that she was once told my friend was expecting a baby. However, from around age 11, she stopped saying anything, so I stopped mentioning it. But now she's 18 years old, and it's come back. She can now see the colour of people's auras. There's still people around her. She smells them. She would like to develop her ability if she could go on to help people. So what advice would you give to Anne's daughter in that respect? So she's had the ability since she was a child.
I'd tell her to keep out of negativity. And I'd tell her to go on walks and meditate and get as much information as she can and pray.
Right.
And eat a good diet.
Right. Okay, that's great stuff. So we've got a good question here from Francine. She said, would you be able to explain to everyone the difference between a psychic and mediumship? So that's a good question, actually, because a lot of people don't know the difference, really.
Right. Well, psychic is a material thing. It's all around us, is the psychic world.
Mm-hmm.
And so psychic is when you sometimes just know what somebody's like, or you just can sense something about them, or you know, or your children have been they've been pinching apples off a tree, or they've been up to no good, and they come home and you know exactly what they're doing. The psychic is when you think about somebody who you haven't seen for absolutely ages. You go into wherever you're going and you bump into them, or you get a phone call from them. So psychic is it's just a knowing. It's not spiritual.
Right.
And what else did she say?
Just wanted to explain the difference between a psychic and a medium, really.
Well, right. And a medium is just a channel. A medium, mediumship can work. A medium can give you evidence of the spirit world.
Right.
They can give you messages, but in mediumship, you've got to remember that, like I was saying to you earlier on, you get clairvoyance to see, you get clairaudience to hear, clairsentience to feel, and clair knowing that you just know something. And when you're a psychic, you just work on a very you work on a different vibration. You don't work on a high vibration. And when you're psychic, you can pick psychic negative energy up, which isn't a good thing. So when you're channeling, when you're a medium, you raise your vibration from being psychic up to your crown chakra. And your crown chakra, Jason, is a white, purple, silver light, and that is where. And when a medium's working with spirit, we push our energy up, and your guides and the communicators will come down.
Right. Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I think as well. This is my thing. I don't know if you'd agree with this, but psychic, I think, is more on a physical level. Mediumship is more on a spiritual level.
Absolutely. Spot on.
Way to put it in it, really.
Spot on.
Psychics work more on a physical level, whereas mediums work on more of a spiritual level. I think, is that
absolutely
fair? Yeah. Okay. So let's have a look. We've got Joe has asked a question. Is there a way to communicate with your pets that have passed over? Is it the same process, or?
Yeah. I would just.
Sorry, just another one. And if if you can do it, do you communicate with them how do you communicate with them?
Just think about them. Just get a photograph. Just visualize them, and just know that they're there. You will sometimes. You'll just know they might come into a dream form, or there might be a medium or a friend who will tell you that they're there.
Okay. That's interesting. That. So we've got another one from Alex, talking about ways to avoid psychic headache after giving evidence. Is that something you experience if you're getting them? I don't know. Do you kind of get a bit sort of?
When you get psychic headaches, it's usually when you're just developing, and it's the tuning of the forks that are doing it, and they can often put you a psychic band on your head, Jason, which is often too tight.
Right.
So yeah,
Okay.
it's just a matter of sitting and blending with your guides, just talking to them, and just sensing them, and just building it up.
Right. Okay. So it's basically, so it's kind of like not tuning into the right channel, really.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
that makes sense. So you're trying to get onto sort of Sky, but you're only on BBC or something,
That's it.
type of thing. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
No,
it.
I don't know why anyone wants to be on BBC, but there we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, and you've got, and your guides have got to be able to. You've got to be your guides. Your guides will take you through different processes.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You're learning all the time. I'm still learning, Jason, but always remain humble.
Yeah.
Always, always remain humble. Never have an ego. Never have a naughty show.
Mm,
Always show love.
yeah.
Always show understanding.
Yeah. And that's a good point, because I was wanting to bring something up as well about that. And this is my experience, and I don't know if you agree with this, but I've as I said, I've met a lot of mediums in my life. Most of them are quite got on with, but there's a few that have had quite a bit of an ego. And what I found is that the mediums that develop an ego, they might not have had an ego at the beginning, develop an ego, tend to lose a lot of their ability. So they kind of, either they're in it for the wrong reason, they're in it for the money, or they've got a bit of an ego and they're just out there to sort of big themselves up. But then you find that these people, they tend not to. I don't know if they lose the connection or they're not as good, but
they come and go, don't they? They come and go.
Would you think that? Would you agree with that?
I agree with you entirely. And some people want it because they think there's money made into it, and they don't serve the time of developing and working for the churches and doing things freely. They don't want to train. They just want to get on the bandwagon to make money.
Yeah, I think that's right, and that's what I found. I found that the best mediums either don't charge a lot, or some don't even charge at all, because they're in it as a giving it to people, giving that ability to people because it's a gift, I suppose. So whereas you find the ones that, and it might not always be the case, but I think the ones that'll charge you hundreds of pounds for a reading, and they're on TV every 5 minutes, I don't really know if they're going to be connecting at the very high levels, really.
No, well, I don't think so, Jason, either. I don't. I think when you're working with people, you've got to use your judgment. And if they don't have a lot of money and they just need you, you don't charge them. You just give them love. And what I've got a good habit of saying to people, I always make people welcome. I always let them feel relaxed when they come. And I'll always say, Jason, look, if you get stuck or you want someone to talk to, just pick the phone up. I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
Free of charge.
That's it, isn't it? Exactly.
Yeah.
We've got another.
And I like that quality about myself, Jason.
Well, I think that's why people like to come and see you, because they know that you're genuine, and they know that you're there to just give them a bit of advice or help or confirmation or whatever, I suppose.
Yeah.
So we've got another question coming in. Anne's mentioned about a daughter again. She's not sure if her daughter is psychic or a medium, but she doesn't see future events. She's more aware of people around her. So what would you say that her daughter is then in that
Clairvoyant.
Respect? Clairvoyant, okay. So someone who predicts, like, for example, future events, would they be classed as a psychic rather than a clairvoyant? Okay. Okay, that makes sense then. That makes kind of a lot of sense then. That I think. So I think for Anne, she's daughter's a clairvoyant then. So that's interesting. Francine said, just a comment. Really, really good tonight. Good to go old school. Lots of good information. Okay. Alex has come back on as well with another comment. Alex mentioned about the head, headaches and stuff. And it said only happened when I did 4 remote readings. Blah blah blah. So is that just because of tiredness as well? You think
it is sometimes, I'm sorry, but sometimes it's a little bit of ego, is that, of trying to prove yourself.
Right. Yeah. It's like anything as well, though. If you've got an ability or if you're doing anything and if you're tired, you're not going to get the best result anyway, are you? Really?
No, you're eager.
So sometimes less is more, isn't it, really?
It is, absolutely. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we haven't got any more. We're not going to do any messages today, but Jane's available for readings, phone readings at the moment because of COVID.
I have got a message though, Jason.
Your message. Yeah, we'll give your message out, and we'll see if anyone who's listening is
right. Okay. If I just say, I've got the name. It's a lady that I've got.
Mm-hmm.
She feels to connect in family.
Right.
Or a really, really good friend. And I want to tell you something else about mediumship as well.
Right.
That. And I got the name Violet. Now, right. I don't know whether her name would be Violet, but I got roses are red and violets are blue and sugar is sweet and so are you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I felt as though somebody would have loved the Parma violets. So, right. so I don't know whether anybody can understand that, but that's what I was picking up earlier on.
Right. Is that the Parma violet sweets?
Yeah.
I think they are vile. I hate those sweets. Horrible.
No, everybody's different. Yeah. And I was just going to say, TJ, so when you're working, you've got to think that mothers, grandmothers, great-grandmothers, stepmothers, stepfathers can come on the same vibration.
Right. Right.
And because you'd have a relationship with somebody,
right?
If you had a great relationship with somebody, they would most likely communicate with you free and easy and guide you accordingly than they would if you didn't have an agreement, or you didn't have that special bond with them.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And Jason, will you just tell them? Will you just tell them about the coincidence that me and you had?
Yeah, let's just answer this. Let's just get some answers on this one, and then we'll come on that one. This is the message that you've just given. Jeanette said my mum said that, so that's got a confirmation. But we've got a couple more. Anne said her granddaughter is called Violet, and also Linda, she's put my little Violet. So. See, it looks like it might be Anne. Anne's, she's I'm blown away. My granddaughter is Violet. So it might be a message for Anne, I think, that one, actually, by the looks of it.
That is strange. Well, I'm just going to work with the colour violet. And violet is on a very, very high spectrum. And it's a really good colour it's a very good colour to connect with. But violet, it can also bring a little bit of OCD, you know.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
but the name, and the flower violets when they come up, you know, when they come up early, January, February, there might be a birthday or something there, but the violets are just, you know, it's just something that it's a memory for somebody, and I just want to say that roses are red, violets are blue, and sugar is sweet, and so are you.
Yeah, that's good. That's interesting.
Mm.
Yeah, so we've got Jeanette said, I have OCD, LOL. And Anne says Violet is the apple of her eye. So that's it. So that was a good message, that one. So okay.
Yeah.
So what we were saying about, what was you saying about to talk about next, about when we first met?
Yes. No.
Right.
No, the experiences, how I actually connected with you.
Right.
And when I connected with you, how we become soulmates, and
Yeah, that's right.
and how we've experienced different things.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, that's really interesting, actually, isn't it? So
yeah.
Well, yeah, that'll be interesting. Well, because that yeah, well, we'll talk about that, because I don't. It's really strange how things happen. But there's two particular instances. There's probably more, but there's two main ones, isn't there? I think that happened. You know, I think we've known each other for about, is it 3 years or maybe more? Not sure.
Yeah.
Something like that. Anyway,
I feel as though I've known you all my life.
Yeah, I know, exactly. So, but there was a couple of things that happened, and this is really interesting. So, interesting to get people's feedback on this. The first, I think the first one was we was doing a psychic night in Oakenshaw one evening, and it was it was a good night, actually, a really busy night. You did well, Jane, but it was really how things happened really strange, because my mother was rushed into hospital that evening, I think it was that evening or just before, and your husband was rushed into hospital at exactly the same time. That was so. I mean, we still somehow we managed to do this psychic night. We didn't call it off. That's how committed we are. But that was so strange how that happened, because literally, I think I said to you, "Oh, my mum's been rushed into hospital," but we literally were on his way to this psychic night, so we did it. And then you said, "Oh, well, Bill's been rushed into hospital as well, your husband." So that was really strange. So that was one thing that happened, and then there was another thing that happened, and it was the same people again. Funnily enough, I remember ringing you up, or you rung me up, not sure which, and I said, "Oh, this is going back. This will going back a couple of years now, probably." And I said, "Oh, my mum's gone missing, and I've called the police." And you went, "Oh, I've just called the police because Bill's gone missing." And I was like, "What?"
And they both had dementia.
Yeah, and both had dementia. So, our lives seem to have run like parallel, don't they? In some way, it's really.
Yeah.
I mean, that can't be a coincidence, because I don't think. Well, I think that was the only time in my life that my mother had ever gone missing, and I rung the police. And I don't know about. It's not something that happens every day, and it happened on exactly the same day. And they went into hospital, happened on exactly the same day as well. So there's some I don't know what that means or what that connection is, but there's certainly something. It can't be coincidence, that one, or that those two. There's other things, I think, as well, smaller things, but I think they were the big ones, weren't they?
Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, they're spiritual sort of kind of connections. I've had a few more in my life with other people. It's things like that. Not that common, but now and again happens. But that was really that was really, but we've had other things that have been smaller things, little, not important things, where something's happened and then I've rung you and you said, oh, that's exactly the same as happened to me. So that's really interesting as well. So
and what we do find with each other, Jason, that if you're down, I can pick you up, and if I'm down, you'll pick me up.
Yeah, that's it. Well, exactly. It's a good balance, isn't it? That there's certainly a connection there, and you know. So I'm just having a look now. Yeah, is there anything else you want to say about that, Jane? Well,
me and Jason, we're just like mother and son.
Yeah.
Ain't we?
Yeah, exactly. Let's have a look. Right. I'm just seeing if there's any more questions. Let's have a look. Oh, we've got Jeanette. This is not really a question, but just Jeanette. She's actually from Greenville, South Carolina, USA.
Good, great. Hi.
We've gone to the US. So everyone, you know, not only is everyone, you know, in the UK know about you, Jane, but now everyone in the US will know about you. So that's interesting. So
that's amazing.
This is
technology. You're welcome. Good to hear from you.
Yeah. So we haven't got any more questions on the thing now. We're nearly up for 1.5 hours. So I think that's kind of enough for now. We don't want to, you know, we've probably bored people enough already. So, but I think it's been interesting chatting to you anyway. We've got another lady actually here as well. Just before we go, Hannah. She's from Mississippi in the US. So
hi.
We've got 2 viewers from the US. So you know, so tell everyone about Jane, and tell everyone about our page as well, because we're going to do a lot more exciting interviews going forward, and you know, we might even get Jane back on one day. We could do a special or something if you fancy that. We have got a question here before we wrap up. Shelley said, do you both connect to your own loved ones in spirit? So for you, Jane, so like, do you connect to your loved ones in spirit?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. Do you get sort of messages, or is it just feelings and things?
I get messages from them. I'll just make you laugh. If I'm feeling down or I want some help, they will bring somebody on the material to help me, or they'll give me a thought or a phone call or something, or an impression. So, but when I'm at home and I've lost something or I'm cooking, my mum or my best friends will come in, and I can hear them. I can actually hear my friends in my normal life, but I can't hear my spirit guides. Well, I do sometimes, but you know, so yeah. So, and when you die, you still take that knowledge, you still take that wisdom with you, and you know, there's still decorators up there, and there's still dentists and doctors up there, and some of the doctors will actually work through the healers here. And sometimes when you're decorating, you know, and you just get a thought and you'll think, that's strange. You know, why don't I use a plumb line? And there's somebody been decorating round here, and they put the wallpaper upside down.
Right.
And I don't know where that is, but they've just given me that. But it's somebody who would have loved to have done some decorating, Jason.
Right.
So what I was saying to you. So, yeah, my loved ones, work with me in my ordinary life. And you've got to remember that if you ask the spirit world for help, they can help you. But if you don't ask them, they can't help you because we've got free will and they can't interfere.
Yeah, that's interesting, actually. Yeah, that's good advice, really, for everyone, isn't it? And it's like asking, you shall receive. If you don't ask,
that's right.
You can't expect to go. Well, no one's coming and help me. Well, did you ask for anyone? You know, so it's that's one of those things, isn't it?
And sometimes you might just smell something, and they don't always bring you nice smells. If somebody would have been on if somebody would have had a catheter in, or they couldn't hold the wee when they were here, they'd come through in the spirit world, and I'd actually smell the urine.
Right.
You know, so they don't always bring nice smells, but they can bring perfumes. And sometimes they can transform into a butterfly or a bird or a bee.
Right. Okay. Wow. Interesting. Yeah. So that's so she asked about. I've got I think my granddad's one of my guides as well. You know, he's knocking around. You know, my dad will come through if I'm doing any sort of DIY because I can't put a shelf up, but he could make anything. So,
well, there you go.
There we are. So, let's have a look. Yeah. So I think we've done 1.5 hours. So, have you got anything to say before we clock off, Jane?
Well, I've really enjoyed myself. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, no, it's been good. This is the first of a hopefully quite a lot of interviews that we're going to do. So we thought you got to put the best on first. So
well, you won't get anybody like me, will you, Jason?
No, you won't get anyone as entertaining as you. So for anyone who's watching or watching this on record anyway, we'll maybe every probably Wednesday evenings is probably where we're going to go. We've got a few exciting interviews lined up in the next few weeks. We've got a gentleman talking about Reiki, healing, and all that kind of business. So that's going to be dead interesting. So we will have, maybe that might be next week. We'll confirm that, and then we've also got a lady coming on in the next few weeks who's a channeler who channels the Pleiadians. So that's exciting too. So
that's very exciting.
So we're going to have a lot of interesting guests coming on. So stay tuned, like the channel, share us, and and keep in touch. But if you want to speak to Jane Crump, she's got her own page on Facebook, Jane Crump Psychic Medium. You can contact her through there. Jane, you do private readings, don't you, Jane?
Yeah.
So you can get a private reading.
I do. Yeah, I do private readings, and I do parties, and I've even been known to do charity, events as well.
Right. Yeah. So if you want a reading from Jane, with COVID, the COVID nonsense, you won't be able to do it face to face right now. But you can. I know you do video readings and phone readings, don't you, Jane, and all that kind of stuff. And hopefully, once all this lockdown's finished, we might even do some more events. So you never know. Might be able to see Jane live and in action.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. So so we've been on a long time now. I've got no attention span, so I haven't been bored. So that's a really good thing. So so we're going to sign off now. So thanks for watching. You can still watch this video on. It'll still be on the page, so you can still share it and watch it again if you're really bored. Thanks for coming. So anything you want to say before you go, Jane?
Good night and God bless everybody and sleep well. And look after yourselves and take care, and God bless. Thank you.
Okay, well, so see you next time.
I'll see you later, alligator, in a wild crocodile. TTFN. Ta-ta for now.